Now, did you make Valley Children's aware of the light that they used at all? The finder at the time?
It completely slipped my mind.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't even thinking that a nurse would put a light that would burn somebody to skin. As a mother, that made me feel devastated because I couldn't do anything to help her, and I was trying to comfort her, and there was nothing I could do.
And so you left the hospital then, Valley Children's, right? And you did some follow-up the next day, or?
Well, the doctor at Valley Children's had told me to follow up with my doctor the next day. And they had given me some cream to put on her hand and an extra bandage and told me to change it that night and follow up with my doctor the next day. That night I changed it and put the extra cream, and while I was changing it, Lylah's father, my boyfriend, looked at it and was like, "Isn't that where they held the light at the ER?" And that's when it kind of clicked in my head that this is the only place that they held the light to her. This is the only place she has this. And so we followed up with a doctor the next morning, and she told us that it was that she had second-degree burns on her hand, and that she would have to go every day, and every time before she goes, that I would have to give her Tylenol for the pain, because even as an adult, it's extremely, extremely painful, and she would have to go and get the skin peeled, the dead and dying skin peeled from her hand. And so the next day was her first appointment to do that on Friday. And I mean, she screamed and cried. And then the doctor was looking at it and said it was second-degree burns. And in the middle of the second-degree burn, there's a white patch. And they said it's more than likely is a third degree. And so they instructed me to take her in today. And I took her into the emergency, or the Merced urgent care today to see the doctor. And he looked at it and said that she may have too much scarring, and when she gets older that they may have to do surgery and skin grafts just so that she can open her hand. And they set up an appointment with wound care, or the wound clinic, for tomorrow. So.
And that was from your last doctor that you seen, not from Merced?
Not from the ER.
The ER that you went to originally.
Yeah.
Now, was there anything discussed after that with them to come up with some kind of conclusion, some kind of,
After her doctor's appointment on Friday, when they told me that, or when they first peeled her skin, I went down to file a complaint at the hospital. And I filed a complaint, and the lady was asking me, like, well, what do you want us to do? And I was like, I don't know, but, she has second and third degree burns, and she's 2 months old, and she didn't come in here with it. If I would have brought her in there with the second and third degree burns, you guys would have called CPS on me. And she said, well, of course we would have. We would have at the second you walked in. And I was like, well, what? If I would have done that, you would have called CPS. Now that you've done it, what are you going to do?
Now, did they have a patient advocate or anybody come and talk to you, speak to you, give you any resolution to, what the next steps are?
That's the person I talked to, was Tina Arias. And she's the patient advocate. And I asked her, I said, what should I do? Should I, I don't know what to do. And she said for me to bring in pictures and for me to bring in all the medical records. And she couldn't tell me to do anything else. She couldn't give me any advice at all, that she was biased or totally unbiased. And she would take my complaint and send it to the committee, and that's all she does.
She said, "Can you tell me what happened?" And then my daughter proceeded to tell her everything that happened. And she just, kept writing down, going, okay, okay. And then at the end, she asked my daughter, she said, "So what would you like done about this?" And my daughter, she said, like that. And then, so then I turned around and I said, "Well, what would you like to see done with this?" And she says, "Well, me?" And I said, "Yeah." And she says, "Well, I am in the middle. I can't go for you, or I can't go for the hospital. I have to just write everything down." And then my mother said, and she's the great-grandmother, she said, "Well, I think you need better staffing, and that the baby needs something for pain and suffering, all the stuff that she's gone through." And she said, "Okay, I'll write all that stuff down for you." And she started writing it down. And then she said, "Oh, and by the way, the baby's really cute." She said, "Your baby's adorable." And basically that is the only person we spoke to that was in the room. We never talked to anyone else. We never spoke to anyone else. She's the only person that was in the room, and that was the extent of the conversation, basically.
I was, I was at school when this happened, and I told my mom to call me as soon as it was over because I was concerned about what happened. And she called me, and she told me that she said nothing, that she didn't give them any advice, that she asked for their story, and the only question that she really asked them is, "What would you like done about this?" That's it. And my mom said, I don't understand, what that was. How is she an advocate,
So there was no offer of any kind of burn unit, or anything to take Lylah to have her examined at that point at that hospital at all?
No.
Nothing at all?
Nothing whatsoever. Like I said, when she did ask, she did tell my daughter, she said, "What would you like done with this?" And I told her, I said, I said, she's a 2-month-old baby. I said, how bad that hurts. I mean, every night when she goes to bed, she screams and cries. Today we went out to dinner, and we took her to her doctor appointment, and afterwards we went to lunch. She screamed and cried the whole time in the restaurant, and we would comfort her, and that was after she got her little hand examined and stuff by the doctor. But getting back to when Tiffany had taken her the very first time to get this, when they discovered that she had 2nd-degree burns, we spoke to a lady by the name of Linda McIntosh, which was our doctor. She asked us what happened, asked Tiffany what happened, and when she opened the Band-Aid up, she goes, "Oh my God, oh my God." She goes, "Are you going to sue?" She goes, "Are you getting a lawyer?" She goes, "Because this is horrible." She goes, "This is terrible."
We made calls to Mercy Medical Center, and we never received a call back until my sister physically went in on Friday.
So there was nothing offered to you guys as far as Mercy Hospital, where you originally took Lylah Rose into to help her, a burn unit victim,
Nothing.
anything like that.
Nothing.
Nothing has been.
She's the only person. Tina Reyes is Eris is the only person that we spoke with, and during that time there was nothing ever said.
And nothing still has been offered.
No.
Any callbacks or
No.
anything like that.
No.
Well, I've heard, I've seen a lot of stories on Facebook as a, I don't know what the word is, as coming from Lylah's page, about other children. Some have died, and I think that in the emergency room that there needs to be a doctor that deals with children.
Is that the
at all times.
remedy that you would like everyone to know about all of this, from this horrible, horrible thing that's happened to your daughter?
That, and just know that when you go into a hospital, the nurses should know that if they're not allowed to get a vein in 2 tries, that they're not supposed to try anymore.
I keep telling her, because she blames herself in it. I keep telling her that she did right because, you know, she gave her daughter to a professional, you know, and she stood back and let them do their job, and then now her daughter's suffering for it. It's sad.
Their staff really needs to be trained more. A lot more.
I mean, this has been a devastation on the whole entire family. I mean, like I said, she can't sleep at night. She cries all the time. Her dad cries all the time. They try to hush her when she's, you know, hurting, and there's nothing they can do about it. She calls me all the time crying and telling me, Mom, you know, the baby's hurting, and she goes, and, you know, there's nothing I can do. I can't calm her down. She goes, I know it hurts very bad. You know, just imagine a burn on you know, an adult, you know, and at the palm of the hand, you know, it's more tender, and it's you know, it seems like it hurts a lot more than, you know, to be on a little tiny baby, you know, that didn't deserve anything. My daughter went to the hospital with Lylah because she had diarrhea, you know, and in hopes that they would make her better, not leave the hospital with a 2nd to 3rd degree burn, you know. And this has been devastating on Lylah. She wakes up in the middle of the night screaming and crying.
It's really hard to see.
Tiffany can't put her down hardly at all. I'm really surprised that she's sleeping as long as she is right now. I mean, I guess she must have been pretty wore out or something, because she usually takes sleeps for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then wakes up, and she's real uncomfortable, agitated. Her and her father, the baby and the moms and the father both have to walk her constantly at night, you know, rocking her, and it, like I said, it's just been a real devastating thing on the whole entire family.
You know, and she has 3 other children as well, and that's, you know, she's called us several times, like, can you come and help me, like, I need a break, and, you know, taking time away from her other kids, too, because of the pain that Lylah's going through, you know, and she's tired, and she'll call me, and, like, we'll be talking about random things, you know, like, you know, just about random things, and then she'll just break out crying, and I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, I don't know, I'm just, like, really stressed, and it hurts me to see my sister like that. And it hurts me even more to see my niece in pain. And we just want, you know, for me, I want, you know, I mean, I just love, like, you know, like, how now that her story is out, like, how other people are stepping up, too. I feel like we maybe set the mark for it. Because as, you know, in my first, the first picture that I ever posted on Facebook, I put, like, you know, this is, at Merced, we shouldn't feel like we need to drive 40 miles out of the way to take our children somewhere safe. We should feel like we can go down the street and take our child and they're going to get taken care of, you know. But we can't. And this is not just me. This is everybody in Merced who feels this way.
We thank you so much for your honesty and being so open about this horrible, horrible thing.
We had made a request to the hospital for an on-camera interview, which was to be taped this past Monday. But unfortunately, we received an email stating that they could not make any statements on camera and sent us a written statement instead. With the allegations of abuse and cover-up by not informing the mother of the burn to little Lylah Rose's hand, we had hoped that they would give their side of the story. Instead, we are left to assume that in fact these charges are true. For the iNet News Group, I'm Vanessa Vendel.